There comes a time in every generation when families must pause, look around, and realize that the world is shifting. The noise is louder, the pressure is heavier, and the distractions are stronger than ever. This is not the moment to drift. This is the moment to prepare, to get anchored, to stand firm, to gather your household and remind them that storms don't announce themselves before they arrive, but preparation always speaks before the storm. Tell your family to prepare, not with fear, but with focus, because preparation is not about panic, it's about positioning. When you prepare your mind, your heart, your home, and your spirit, you are not reacting to chaos. You are rising above it. You are stepping into stability while the world shakes, confidence while the world trembles, and direction while everyone else is wandering. Preparation begins with truth. Families today are surrounded by opinions, trends, and voices trying to define who they are and where they're going. But a prepared family knows what guides them. They know what values they hold. They know what convictions they stand on. They understand that unity in the home becomes strength in the storm. When a family is aligned, focused, and grounded, nothing coming from the outside can destroy what's built on the inside. Tell your family to prepare by reconnecting. Reconnect with each other. Reconnect with purpose. Reconnect with the things that actually matter. The enemy of strength is distraction. And when families are distracted, they slowly drift apart without even realizing it. Preparation calls you back to the table. It calls you back to conversation. It calls you back to intentional love, to forgiveness, to humility, to the kind of unity that doesn't crumble under pressure. And preparation also requires discipline. The future doesn't belong to the comfortable. It belongs to the committed. A prepared family learns to say no to what drains them and yes to what builds them. They choose honesty over hiding, courage over convenience, and direction over drifting. They learn to set their priorities, guard their hearts, manage their time, and protect their integrity. Tell your family to prepare emotionally. The world is heavy, and hearts today need strength. Remind them that resilience doesn't come from ignoring pain, but from learning how to rise above it. Teach them how to face challenges with grace, how to speak life instead of fear, and how to turn obstacles into opportunities. Tell your family to prepare mentally. A strong mind is a shield. Sharpen their thinking, feed their focus. Encourage them to grow, to learn, to expand, to question what needs questioning, and hold firm to what deserves to be held. And finally, tell your family to prepare spiritually. Because when everything else shakes, the Spirit keeps you grounded. When pressures rise, the Spirit keeps you standing. When confusion comes, the Spirit gives clarity. A prepared family is a protected family. Not because storms don't come, but because storms don't win. This is the hour to prepare, to build stronger homes, stronger minds, stronger relationships, and stronger foundations. Tell your family to prepare, because preparation today creates victory tomorrow. Preparation brings stability because it forces a family to shift from living reactively to living intentionally. In a world that changes by the hour, instability often comes from being caught off guard, from being unrooted, from moving through life without a clear sense of direction. But when a family prepares, they create an anchor that keeps them steady no matter how strong the winds may blow. Preparation is not just about stocking up or planning ahead. It's about developing the inner posture and the mindset that refuses to be shaken by circumstances. It turns uncertainty into clarity and chaos into order because it trains the heart and mind to function from a place of readiness instead of fear. When a family embraces preparation, they begin to understand that stability is not something they stumble into. It is something they build brick by brick, decision by decision, value by value. It means paying attention to what is happening around them, recognizing that the times are serious, the world is shifting, and life requires more intentionality than ever before. Many homes fall apart, not because they lack love, but because they lack preparation for the unexpected. A sudden crisis, a financial blow, a moral challenge, a cultural shift, these things can shake an unprepared home. But a prepared family can bend without breaking. They can adjust without collapsing. They can respond without panicking. Preparation brings stability because it strengthens communication. Families who prepare talk openly, share honestly, and confront issues before they become crises. They don't wait for misunderstandings to turn into resentment or for small problems to grow into painful divides. Preparation teaches them to address what needs attention, to plan together, to set expectations, and to build a rhythm that keeps everyone on the same page. When the whole house understands what matters, why it matters, and what direction they are moving in, confusion loses its power. Another layer of stability comes from emotional readiness. A prepared family learns to acknowledge feelings, strengthen their emotional bonds, and create an environment where peace is a priority. When challenges arise, they know how to support one another instead of turning against each other. They know how to stabilize their reactions instead of allowing fear, anger, or anxiety to run the home. Emotional preparation equips families with patience, resilience, and compassion, qualities that keep the house grounded even when life feels overwhelming. Preparation also stabilizes a family's values. Without preparation, values drift. Culture becomes the teacher, routine becomes the guide, and convenience becomes the compass. But when a family prepares, they actively choose the principles they want to live by. They choose the standards they want to practice. They create a consistent framework that teaches every member of the home what is right, what is important, and what must never be compromised. These shared values become like pillars. They hold the house steady when outside influences try to push it off balance. A family aligned in values is not easily divided because they know what they stand for and why. Financial preparation is another form of stability. When a family prepares themselves financially by planning, budgeting, and avoiding unnecessary weight, they remove one of the biggest stress factors that destroys homes. Stability grows when financial pressure shrinks. Preparation gives a family the breathing room they need to make wise choices instead of desperate ones, patient decisions instead of panicked ones. Spiritual preparation might be the deepest foundation of all. A spiritually prepared family understands that strength does not only come from effort, but from alignment, discipline, and connection to something greater than themselves. This kind of preparation gives courage when fear rises, hope when circumstances darken, and clarity when confusion tries to take over. It provides a source of peace that the world cannot offer, the kind of stability that comes from within and flows through the entire household. When preparation becomes a lifestyle, stability becomes a natural result. Families don't have to fear what's coming because they have already strengthened what's within. They don't get lost when times get tough because they've already set their direction. Ultimately, preparation is an act of love. Love for the home, love for the future, and love for every person who is part of the family. Unity protects the home because it creates a shield around the family that outside pressures cannot easily penetrate. When a family chooses unity, they choose to stand together even when life tries to push them apart. Unity is not about everyone being the same or thinking the same. It is about everyone valuing the relationship enough to fight for it, protect it, and prioritize it. In a world filled with confusion, division, and noise, unity becomes a form of armor. It guards the home from the inside out, keeping it strong, steady, and unbreakable, even when circumstances become unpredictable. A united family creates an atmosphere of security. Each member knows they are not alone, that someone stands with them, that someone cares about what they face and how they feel. This shared sense of support becomes a powerful stabilizer. When people feel safe at home, they grow stronger outside the home. When they know the family stands behind them, they face challenges with greater confidence. But when unity is missing, the home becomes a battlefield instead of a refuge, and even small conflicts can turn into deep wounds. Unity transforms the home into a place of healing instead of hurt, restoration instead of resistance. Unity protects the home because it strengthens communication. A divided home stops talking. A united home learns to talk through things. In a united family, disagreements do not become detonators. They become discussions. Differences do not lead to distance, they lead to understanding. A united family listens with patience, speaks with respect, and addresses issues with maturity instead of anger. This kind of communication prevents small misunderstandings from growing into bitterness. It prevents silence from becoming separation. It prevents assumptions from replacing truth. Communication is the lifeline of unity, and unity is the protection of the home. Another powerful aspect of unity is shared purpose. Families fall apart not because they lack love, but because they lack alignment. Without unity, everyone goes in different directions, pursuing different goals, following different priorities. But when a family chooses unity, they choose to move with one heart, one focus, and one commitment. They agree on what matters most. They set boundaries, values, and expectations that keep them connected. Purpose becomes the glue that holds them together, and direction becomes the map that keeps them from drifting. Unity also protects the home from external influences. When a family is divided, outside voices gain power. Culture, friends, social media, and the opinions of others begin to shape the home more than the family itself. But a united family stands firm. They know who they are. They know what they stand for. They know their identity and their values. Because of that, outside pressures may knock, but they do not enter easily. Outside temptations may call, but they do not pull the family apart. Unity creates a strength that outside forces cannot match. Forgiveness is another pillar of unity. No family stays united without it. People make mistakes. Tensions rise, emotions flare, and words are sometimes spoken in ways that wound. Unity does not ignore these things. It addresses them with grace. A forgiving family becomes a unified family because forgiveness disarms bitterness before it can grow roots. It frees hearts from resentment and restores relationships before they break. Forgiveness is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of protection, a deliberate choice to guard the relationship instead of destroy it. Unity protects the home by creating peace. Not the peace that comes from silence, but the peace that comes from harmony. It's the peace that allows every person to breathe, to rest, and to feel accepted. It's the peace that lets the home become a sanctuary instead of a stress point. That peace strengthens minds, restores emotions, and brings clarity into confusion. When unity becomes a priority, the home becomes unshakable. Each person stands stronger, the family stands firmer, and the foundation becomes deeper. Unity turns a group of individuals into a team, a house into a home, and a family into a force that cannot be easily broken. Distraction is one of the quietest but most effective forces that weakens a family from the inside out. It doesn't arrive with noise, conflict, or warning. It slips in slowly through routines, screens, habits, and busyness. Over time, distraction pulls hearts away from each other, removes focus from what truly matters, and replaces meaningful connection with shallow moments. A family that doesn't recognize distraction will drift without realizing it. But a family that prepares by eliminating and controlling distraction becomes strong, centered, and deeply connected. When distraction takes over, it changes the atmosphere of the home. Conversations grow shorter. Time together becomes optional instead of valuable. Priorities shift from relationships to routines. People are physically present but emotionally distant. A distracted home may look calm on the outside, but inside, everyone is slowly moving in different directions. The relationships weaken, the unity fades, and the sense of purpose dissolves. Families don't usually break from one big conflict. They break from a series of small distractions that steal attention from one another day after day. One of the biggest sources of distraction today is technology. Phones, apps, endless scrolls, and constant notifications create a world where minds are always elsewhere. Parents get distracted by work and responsibilities. Children get distracted by entertainment and trends. The home becomes a place where everyone is busy, but no one is truly present. Preparing as a family means establishing boundaries that protect quality time. It means recognizing that real connection cannot happen if every moment is filled with digital interruptions. It also means creating intentional spaces where the family can reconnect without screens controlling the atmosphere. Another form of distraction is emotional clutter. Worries, frustrations, and personal struggles often take up so much mental space that people become distant without meaning to. When a person is overwhelmed internally, they disconnect externally. That's why the family must learn to check on each other emotionally, to create a culture where feelings can be expressed without judgment. When emotional distraction is ignored, misunderstandings grow. When it is addressed, the home becomes a place of support instead of silence. Emotional preparation strengthens the family because it keeps hearts open and communication healthy. Busyness is another distraction that many families don't recognize as harmful. Schedules become overloaded, responsibilities pile up, and everyone is always rushing from one task to another. In this rush, connection slowly disappears. Busyness gives the illusion of progress while robbing the family of presence. A prepared family learns to slow down, to protect their time together, and to create rhythms that allow everyone to breathe. They understand that relationships need time to grow, and time cannot grow in the soil of constant hurry. Distraction also comes from misplaced priorities. When comfort becomes more important than commitment, when entertainment replaces purpose, when convenience overrides discipline, families start shifting away from their core values. Preparing for the future means making intentional choices about what deserves attention and what does not. It means choosing meaningful conversations over mindless distractions, choosing connection over convenience, choosing long-term strength over temporary ease. A family that guards its priorities protects its foundation. Distraction weakens focus, and a lack of focus creates vulnerability. When a family is distracted, they become susceptible to outside influences, unhealthy habits, and emotional distance. But when a family prepares by refocusing, they regain their strength. They become grounded. They become resilient. They regain their purpose and protect the bond that holds them together. When distractions are removed, the home becomes a place of clarity. Each person begins to hear each other better, understand each other deeper, and support each other more intentionally. The atmosphere grows lighter. Love flows more freely. Unity becomes easier. Joy returns. A focused family becomes a powerful family, one that is not easily shaken because they are anchored in what matters most. Discipline determines direction because no family drifts into strength, stability, or purpose by accident. Every strong home is shaped by intentional choices, consistent habits, and a commitment to do what is necessary, even when it is not easy. Discipline is the structure that supports the family, guiding their steps and shaping their future. Without discipline, good intentions fade, routines fall apart, and priorities become scattered. But with discipline, a family gains the clarity, order, and momentum needed to move toward the life they desire instead of simply reacting to whatever comes their way. Discipline is not about control, it is about alignment. It teaches every member of the home that choices today shape outcomes tomorrow. A disciplined family knows that success is not built on emotion, but on consistency. It means setting boundaries and honoring them, creating routines and following them, and deciding what kind of household you want to be, then living that out day by day. Discipline doesn't eliminate challenges, but it equips the family to face them with steadiness instead of panic. One of the most powerful ways discipline shapes direction is through time management. A family without discipline often feels like they are always running late, always stressed, always catching up, and never fully present. But a disciplined family learns to protect their time. They prioritize what matters, avoid what drains them, and make space for connection. They understand that every hour invested in the right places strengthens the home, while every hour wasted on distractions weakens it. Time becomes a tool instead of a trap when discipline governs the schedule. Discipline also shows up in communication. Families who practice disciplined communication refuse to let conflict linger. They speak respectfully even when they are frustrated. They prioritize honesty over hiding and clarity over assumptions. They hold themselves accountable for their words and actions instead of allowing emotions to dictate the atmosphere. This type of self-control creates a culture where trust grows, respect deepens, and misunderstandings shrink. When communication is disciplined, unity becomes easier to maintain and conflict easier to resolve. Financial discipline is another form of direction setting. Many households live under unnecessary stress because spending is uncontrolled, savings are ignored, and priorities are confused. But a disciplined family understands that money is a tool, not a master. They make choices that build stability instead of chaos. They plan instead of react. They save instead of overspend. They teach every member of the home the importance of stewardship and responsibility. This financial discipline becomes a foundation that prevents panic during hard times and positions the family for long-term strength. Emotional discipline is just as important. It means learning to pause before responding, to breathe before reacting, and to understand before judging. Homes fall into turmoil when emotions run wild without guidance. But emotional discipline protects the atmosphere of the home. It teaches each person to handle stress with maturity, to manage their feelings instead of being controlled by them, and to extend grace during moments of tension. When emotions are disciplined, peace becomes the default posture instead of conflict. Spiritual discipline adds depth to direction because it anchors the family in principles that do not change. It shapes values, strengthens character, and provides clarity when decisions are difficult. A family that practices spiritual discipline doesn't wait for crisis to seek strength. They build strength daily through reflection, intention, and grounding. This foundation offers stability in uncertain times and direction when life feels confusing. Ultimately, discipline turns intentions into action. It protects the home from drifting off course. It helps the family stay aligned with their purpose, focused on their values, and committed to their future. Discipline may feel demanding in the moment, but it always leads to freedom, stability, and growth. A disciplined family becomes a directed family, one that doesn't simply hope for a better future, but actively builds it one decision at a time. Emotional, mental, and spiritual readiness is essential because a family's true strength comes from within, not from circumstances around them. When the inner life of each person is fortified, the home becomes a place of resilience instead of fragility. A family may have plans, routines, and resources, but without inner readiness, pressure will still overwhelm them. Readiness is the invisible foundation that keeps a home standing when life brings challenges that cannot be predicted or controlled. Emotional readiness begins with understanding that every heart in the home carries weights, fears, and pressures that are often unseen. People may smile but still feel overwhelmed. They may function but still feel drained. A family that prepares emotionally creates a safe space where feelings can be expressed without embarrassment or judgment. They learn how to listen to each other, support each other, and care for each other's inner world. Emotional readiness is not about eliminating stress. It is about developing the strength to navigate it without falling apart. It equips the family to remain patient when tensions rise, understanding when mistakes happen, and compassionate when someone is hurting. Emotional readiness turns the home into a place where healing happens instead of hurt. Mental readiness is just as crucial because the mind is the control center of decisions, beliefs, attitudes, and perspectives. A family that prepares mentally understands that thoughts shape actions and actions shape outcomes. When the mind is weak, confused, or unfocused, the family's direction becomes unstable. But when the mind is disciplined, clear, and strong, the family moves with purpose. Mental readiness means encouraging each other to grow, to learn, to think critically, and to protect their attention. It means guarding the mind from negativity, fear, and influences that weaken focus. A mentally prepared family teaches each member how to recognize unhealthy thoughts, challenge limiting beliefs, and replace confusion with clarity. It also helps the family stay grounded when the world around them is chaotic because their thinking is anchored, not scattered. Spiritual readiness provides the deepest layer of strength because it anchors the family in principles that do not shift with trends, emotions, or circumstances. A spiritually prepared family understands that true stability comes from aligning themselves with truth, purpose, and guidance that transcends the moment. Spiritual readiness gives the family the ability to rise above discouragement, resist pressure, and maintain hope even when life feels dark. It provides peace that circumstances cannot break, direction when choices feel heavy, and courage when uncertainty tries to intimidate them. A spiritually ready family does not wait for crisis to seek grounding. They cultivate grounding daily. Their strength becomes consistent, not reactive. When emotional, mental, and spiritual readiness come together, the family becomes whole. They are not easily shaken by conflict because their emotions are supported. They are not easily misled because their thinking is clear. They are not easily discouraged because their spirit is strong. This threefold readiness acts like armor, protecting the home from internal collapse. It keeps each member steady when the others are weak, lifting the whole family through shared strength. Emotional stability allows them to love each other well. Mental stability gives them wisdom in decisions. Spiritual stability gives them resilience and endurance. Families often prepare for external things, schedules, bills, work, responsibilities, but overlook internal preparation. Yet it is the internal world that determines how they respond to storms, stress, and unexpected situations. A home filled with emotionally supported hearts, mentally strong minds, and spiritually grounded souls becomes a home that can face anything. They stand together not because life is easy, but because they are ready from the inside out. This readiness transforms the family into a source of strength for one another and a place of refuge in a world that often feels unstable. Thank you